evening, UNC family and friends. Good evening, St. Helena. And to the team from Carolina East, including MP Dr. Rishi, thank you for hosting us tonight. Team Carolina East and MP Dr. Rishi. To my colleagues who are here, and there's several brilliant speakers before me, thank you so much. I was very interested on something that Khadija said, so remind me, Khadija, to reference your point in a moment about the roads company. But before I go there, I want to say congratulations to all of you. And you know, we have been putting the arms of the party in place. We did our full internal national executive elections last year. Then we moved to have the constituency elections. You all remember that? You have a new executive here. I hope they're working as well as the last one, and even better than the last one, I would hope. And then we moved to have our National Congress, which was a great success. Thanks to all of you who came. And we still have to put in place our youth arm and our women's arm. Tonight I want to announce the chairman of the United National Congress Youth Arm has been nominated unopposed, and therefore the new chairman of our UNC Youth Arm will be Daniel Rashid. Daniel, where are you? Daniel Rashid, please give him a round of applause. And there's some other young people we would join him to form that executive. We'll put the full executive in place shortly. I'm also proud to announce that the UNC new headquarters, the refurbishment has been completed this week, final touches this week, and our headquarters will be ready in time to celebrate the anniversary of our great party, the UNC. So I just share this news with you. You would have seen Team UNC continues to work for you, continue to work with you. This week, I'm sure many of you would have seen, and if you did not, please go look for it. You would have seen the UNC on the road to victory. They hit the ground. I want to congratulate DPL John, Senators Roberts, Senator Naked, Senator Damien, Joseph Tony, your own councillor Rampasad here, Ryan, MP Rambali, and many others who hit the road last weekend, and they plan to hit the road again, because why? We are on the road to victory. Will you join us? Are you ready for victory? So let us continue that work. Let me thank Chairman Awong, of course, joining us here tonight as the chairman for this region, the other councillors who are here, all the UNC family, and my MPs, senators. Now, before I go further, you know, we pay respect to those who respect us, not those who cuss us and then want us to respect them. So we respect our elders. I want to give greatest respect to my sister, Archbishop Barbara Burke, and ask her to please join me for a moment. Chairman Awong will help her. Yes. As we approach the Baptist Day, Khadija spoke about it. As you know, Archbishop Burke has been a great warrior and fighter for that group. So I ask her to join me and to bring us some greetings as we approach spiritual Shouter Baptist Day.
I must say greetings from God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And after Almighty God is my political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Visesa. To you, my brothers and sisters, you all may not see me very often because you hear the crack of the guns morning, noon, and night in my area. And I don't have my colleagues that I had before to come out in the night. Many of them COVID take them, and many of them die naturally. But whenever I can come, I'll be here. May God richly bless this party. I want to thank you all because no one had cared for us as Shouter Baptists, a group that went through great trials and great tribulations. Our foreparents was placed into prison just for talking or speaking the word of God. And when I decided to ask for a holiday for my foreparents, I met great opposition. But my beloved political leader gave me a listening ears. I remember clearly when I was placed into the Parliament, we used to sit side by side. And I used to tell her, it's in the Senate, and I telling her our problems. The Honorable Vincent Nelson, his first act, he granted the Shouter Baptist a national holiday, which we celebrate on the 30th of March. I want to say thanks to the United National Congress. Today, we have a school. The Honorable...
The land, I gave you the land before that.
Yes, we had the land. The Honorable political leader made up our deed. So today we have a deed for our property in Maloney. She also built a primary school for us by the name of St. Barbara Spiritual Shouter Baptist Primary School. She didn't want no abbreviation. The kindergarten was built by the Honorable Vincent Pandey, but they vandalized it. You know why? The government came into office and they refused to build a walkover. The Honorable sister of mine here built us the walkover. So we have the early child care and the primary school. May God richly bless this political party. I say it with no hindrance, with no doubt in my mind. I know God will let the United National Congress reign again. God bless the United Congress. God bless the United Congress. God bless the United Congress. And I want to thank you.
Thank you very much, Mother Archbishop. Please give her a round of applause for her blessings. Powerful, powerful sisterhood. Thank you so much for standing with us. You know, people forget. Sometimes we conveniently forget. Sometimes we genuinely forget. But we have short memories. Sometimes, not all the time. And then when to hear my sister talk of the things that we did for the Baptist, spiritual Baptists, I'm so proud. We didn't do just for the spiritual Baptists, we did for everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. Now I have tonight, I said I'll mention Khadijah's Point, which is the secondary roads company that was put under the Ministry of Local Government, promised, and what is it, Khadijah? 8 months later, not one road. And you pick up this company and you drop it in another ministry. The question is why? Now, when the company was announced, in our caucuses, we took decisions that all our corporations should write to the local government minister listing the roads, the local roads, the local government roads that should be put forward to be repaired. Or as we say, not one has been repaired and they moved it. I am told that Faris had contractors. This is what I wanted to share with you, Khadijah. Yes, he had contractors measuring road and roadways and doing estimates, and he was ready to hit the ground, and they took it away from him. Why? And I think Khadijah has raised the right questions. This is that this money is now going to be funneled into Balishe House, the Sashvan and Balishe House. So we'll watch those developments. As I say, they will have to account for that money one day. One day they will have to explain where they got that $100 million, because you couldn't get that from Raffer. No sensible person here will believe you will raise $100 million on it from a raffle. Who's going to believe that? That massive structure there, you will have to answer, because God don't sleep, I tell you. He only wears pajamas. So that will come to light. I wanted to share that point with you. But there are much more serious issues, or equally serious issues, happening in our country today. And I'm going to be a bit serious with you tonight. Sometimes I know we make the jokes and we have fun together, and we still have fun together. But there are too many dangerous things happening in our country. And so I have a duty, a constitutional duty, a moral duty, a humanitarian duty to raise these issues here with you all tonight. First of all, I condemn in the most strongest terms possible. I was trying to look for a word more than strong, you know? More stronger. As Trudy would say, more stronger. I condemn wholeheartedly, in every way, the thuggish, the gangster-like attacks on DPP Roger Gaspard. And the high officers of this land, they're operating like thugs, like gangsters. First of all, we had the Wajang himself, Rowley. Trump and follow suit, Limo AG. And I am so distressed to see over the weekend that the high office of the Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago jumping into that fray down in the Gael. Why? Why are you engaging in that battle down in the Gael? You know, Roger Gaspard has only one boss. Yes, he has, all of us are his bosses, but you know his real boss in law? He has only one boss, and that is the Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago. Why would a Chief Justice jump in the Gael on a political fray on the ground in a 10-page open public statement? Why you didn't call in the man and say, DPP, you have a constitutional office. I have a constitutional office. We appointed you, the JLSC appointed you. Hello, you have some problems? Let's talk. Why issue a 10-page document out in the public domain and all over the social media? Why? Two big men, why? Why now? Isn't that an important question too? This is not the first time the DPP has said that he has a staff shortage. Saddam, is that true? It's not the first time. And anybody will know the shortage is there. When we were last in office, we approved 129 lawyers for his department. I approved it as head of the cabinet, together with my cabinet. And that was then in 2014. Can you imagine the situation now? That 129 will still have to be topped up. Why did the Chief Justice, I'm asking, and I asked him to explain, why now? If since 2014 that department was understaffed, 6-7 years later, why you now come in to explain all these things? Why? Did somebody tell you to do it? Is it payback time, Chief Justice? Is it Trump and follow suit? That Rowley said it, Amos said it, and you now jump in with two of them to back them up, Trump and follow suit? Why are you doing that? And that to me is a very important question. But you see, the PNM has a history of compromising, undermining independent institutions. If they cannot control these institutions, or they feel they cannot control them, what do you do? Mash them up, lick you down, run them out. Exactly, that's what they do. And they will destroy persons. So in the same way, look what happened today. Great big news in town. Rowley has sworn in his puppet president today. Puppet president. So every institution he wants total control of. That has been their history, their playbook. I mentioned to you in a previous meeting, that is their playbook. If they cannot strangle you, if they can't pull your string, get out, go. And is that what now they are ganging up on this DPP? Why? I asked that question, why? The independent institutions of the state have always been subverted to the extent that the PNM publicly and boldly declared on a platform. Sister Barbara will remember it, and many of you will remember when a PNM minister stand up on a platform and he say, all are we thief. Proud to stand up on a platform to say all in the PNM thief, all are we thief. And anything happen with them? They continue. But was that investigated? Was anybody ever investigated and hounded out of government by anybody else? Look at all the years from O'Halloran down the road in the history of corruption of the PNM, and not one PNM get caught up in that. I want to remind you, Roger Gaspard is a decent, honorable, independent DPP. And so Rowley publicly attacked this man about some building. I told you last week, Gaspard talked about, look, I have shortage of staff. Rowley going to talk about building. Well, who owns that building? Is it some friend of Faris Alwari, who was an AG when this building was being procured and so on? Who owns it? So I condemn, as I say, this attack on a man who is honorable, decent, hardworking, independent DPP. And you see, Rowley doesn't want those people. As I said, he wants puppets that he can pull strings. So when it is, Gaspard raised the issue about the staff shortage. Rowley went on the platform, never talked about that, but he got his other puppet to come out and talk about that over the weekend. I'll come back to him in a moment. Not leaving him alone. If it's war you want, we will fight for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We will fight. And the last time anybody talked about a high judicial officer, the fella ended up dead, Do you all know that? The last time anybody talked about that high judicial officer, the man became a refugee in England. You all remember that? So if you want to condemn people, you must be careful when you live in a glass house. Don't pelt stones. Don't pelt stones. I am not afraid of any of you. I said I'll meet you anywhere. Inside the parliament, outside the parliament, and on the pavement too. We'll take you on the pavement. We'll take you on. Because if we do not do it, the other speakers have mentioned it. The UNC now, and we'll take them in the courthouse as well. Thank you, Deputy Leader. Because if we do not do it, there will not be a man left to stand up against this dictator regime. Huh? Right now, the only thing standing between the freedoms and rights of people in this country and the wicked, corrupt dictator, Rowley PNM government is the United National Congress, is the UNC. And that is why I am not afraid. We on this platform, in and out, we are not afraid to raise the serious issues. You all have to understand, because for too long we have stood quietly and done and said nothing. They say, okay, now the UNC is tit for tat and back for back. Well, yes, if you come at me, I will come back for you. I will fight you. If you come against the people of this country, we will stand for them. You cannot steamroller again your dictatorship way. So tonight I want to say more on these matters. Up to now, Rowley raised about the building, DPP's accommodation. And up to now, nobody in government can say whether they completed the work recommended by the experts to have a secure DPP building in Port of Spain. No one has told us, have they completed the recommendations made? And they were not made by me or you or Rowley or the Chief Justice. They were made by the special branch. They were made by, I told you this man has trouble with the special branch, so the recommendations have been made by the special branch. They are the experts. And so Rowley must tell the country the truth. Is it true that there are multiple, not one special branch report, there are multiple special branch reports that have said the building is not up to security standards. The police special branch, earlier, madam, please come out and tell us, are there multiple reports about the security and safety of the DPP's office? That is the issue. How much money you pay or you didn't pay, that is your deal that was cut with whomever, whenever, to pay rent for the building. Huh? That's your negotiations. But tell us how many special branch report says this office, this place, this space is not safe. Remember, prosecutor was murdered in this country, you know, a senior council prosecutor was murdered. She was pursuing high-profile cases. You all remember that. God rest her soul, a brilliant lawyer she was. She was murdered. Others in the DPP's offices, they've been threatened and harassed. So security is a key issue when you are prosecuting criminals. So that's one issue there. Has the work that was recommended to make the building secure, have you completed that work? Don't come and tell us what money you paid and they want what? Bulletproof glass and want wall. They don't want that. Those are the things that have been recommended as needed for their safety and their security. Why is it the lawyers and the DPP's office are leaving? Is it because they feel... Salam, you used to work in that office. You could probably tell us a little more. You applied twice. Yes. Well, I know Salam actually worked there and maybe knows some more of what happens there. But maybe they are not safe. They don't feel secure. They're overworked, overloaded. And so that issue of the building, how many reports? If the special branch police are saying it is a danger, why then blame the DPP? Again, more immortal than the pestilence. We had to watch this thing, you know. How all this wasn't happening before, how it now happening. After the DPP discontinued high-profile cases against Ramdeen and Ram Logan, discontinued the cases against Basde Pandey, Carlos John, and the others in the Piaco 3 matter, he said, look, these matters cannot go forward. All of a sudden, this DPP is the worst thing on earth. Nobody remembers when the DPP discontinued the case against Minister Franklin Khan, you know. Nobody remembers that. Nobody's put a squeak. Yeah, he was a very good boy then. Discontinued the case against PNM Minister, the late Franklin Khan. May he rest in peace as well. Remember, he was some case of corruption and bribery with that minister. When he was charged, and Eric Williams, they were charged. You may remember. And the case went on, and then the DPP discontinued. Not a squeak. I guess they were all celebrating and clapping at that point in time. When the same DPP, applying similar standards, if not the same standards, says we cannot pursue these cases against Ramdeen Ram Logan, and we cannot continue these cases against the Piaco accused in Piaco 3, that case. Everybody vexed. The DPP is now, as I say, worse than anything coming out of hell. So there's a, I say, they say we have conspiracy theories, but you really have to wonder if there's a whole conspiracy to run the DPP out of office. Really have to wonder. Because when you do that, then you can get whoever is your puppet DPP, whoever that may be, will become. You give the instructions. Come and charge Arnold Roberts. Come and charge this one, charge that one, charge the next one. And you'll get them to follow your bidding as was done in the past. So are you out for this DPP? If Gaspard is being so unreasonable in not wanting to move into the building, then make public what was recommended by the branch. What did they want? What did it say was needed? Tell us what it was, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and how much of it has been done. Tell us about it. And so, I say, are there plans afoot to smear and hang the DPP out of office? Now, lying that way, smearing, attacking the DPP about him not moving, but you're not telling the country your government is renting unsuitable buildings from your friends and your family and your financiers. DPP Gaspard has clearly upset the political directorate. And I have no doubt that there may well be a campaign to smear and slander this man, as they've done with anybody else they could not control. That is the way of the Rowley PNM. Look out soon. Don't be surprised if suddenly you see all kind of stories start to appear about Gaspard. But that's how they work. They get their trolls to go out there on their social media to slander people. Don't be surprised they start to do that with the DPP because, as I say, cannot control him. Cannot control him. They can leak rumors and lies about him through their bloggers, through their fake profiles. Don't be surprised. And then the Guardian media will pick up these smears and turn them into mainstream, front page, back page, middle page stories from lies and rumors they get on social media. That's how they coordinate their campaign, disinformation, the same way they did with Emailgate we talked to you about. So there is this orchestrated and coordinated attack on the DPP. It is clear that the CJ is being protected by Rowley. It is clear that Rowley is being protected by the Chief Justice. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The PNM cannot distort and pervert our democracy. We have already called out the Prime Minister and the AG, so now I say, let's talk about the Honorable Chief Justice. And I have never once, in my long legal and other careers, never once had cause to call out a Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago, because I respect that office. But when you get into a place where you have no business being, then we have to call you out. Then you have to answer. So here we go. We cannot let the Chief Justice use his office to get away with this perversion in the attack against the DPP. Mr. Archie followed an attack by the incompetent, the worst AG, failed AG. He came on first. So the two politicians, right, they're politicians, they could handle that. Then Mr. Archie came forward. Limo accused the DPP's officer underperforming. And then Archie issued, as I say, this 10-page statement. His release, it contains many statements which are presumptuous and are totally out of order, out of place from the office of the Chief Justice. If Cabinet approve a staff complement of 125, then who is the Chief Justice? Who is the Chief Justice? Not the man but that office. Who is that office to question the need for the number of staff recommended by the Cabinet? And the Cabinet did that recommendation based on the reports we would have got from the office of the DPP. So, is the Chief Justice aware of the workload of the DPP's lawyers? You would think the answer is yes. But then when you read his statement, it is clear he doesn't understand what they do or what they must do on a daily basis. Doesn't understand. What he says, he said that the number of staff there, he's thinking in terms of using the number of high court judges. But this man forget, you have district courts, used to call them magistrates courts, all over Trinidad and Tobago. Saddam, you could tell me offhand, Brian, any of you lawyers, how many? Oh, you know as many. Over 38? 13. District courts, magistrates courts. So in addition to the high courts, and those magistrates courts, we call it magistrate court. They don't have one court in those courts. So if you have 13 districts, you will have within each one several courts, sometimes in the same building. So we talk about many more courts where these DPP lawyers have to go. Many courts throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. So you cannot measure how many lawyers you need for the DPP by just the high court number of high court judges. No. It has to be spread. In addition, what do those lawyers do? They have to give advice. They have to draft indictments. They have to review proceedings. They have to appeal in complex appeals. They have to prosecute matters in the magistrates' courts, as I say, district courts all over TNT. So it is out of order to say the amount of staff you need is based on the number of high court judges. Nonsense. Total nonsense. But let's discredit this DPP. Let's get this DPP That's the latest move by the PLM. And next week, Wednesday, I'm not surprised. They've put Parliament for Wednesday. They're going to come with some bill called whistleblower legislation. You know, they brought it once before and they didn't take it through because it's such a flawed piece of law. It is such an unconstitutional piece of law that will take away people's rights. But they're coming with it. And I'm thinking, why you suddenly bring back this piece of legislation? You know why? It's to come back to distract the public away from serious business. They'll come and call some UNC name and say they're UNC thief and call somebody, like what they did with when Rodney asked a question and knocked down Rodney with the most vile language they could use. So Wednesday, don't be surprised they come to call some UNC and slander some UNC name again under the pretense of debating whistleblower. But we're ready for them. We ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? We have to be ready. We have to be ready. Because these fellas so slippery. They could slip under any crease in any door to get away with their nefarious actions of slandering people, defaming people. So I continue. So the numbers I'm saying, Mr. Archie, Mr. Chief Justice, cannot be based on the number of high court judges. And don't forget, as I said, you have the appeal court too. So more courts than just the high court number of judges. You can't put the two together at all. So everything raised by C.J. Archie in his public statement, as I said, could have been addressed privately. Not today. Not at this 11th hour. Not after Rowley and Limo call out Mr. Gaspard. Not today. This thing it's been festering for time. Should have been done where? Like two big men in two high offices of the land sit down and talk. Why did you feel it necessary? I come back to the point that you had to go and take this action in the public domain. Why? Why? And I come again, is it because Rowley refused to have the tribunal set up to investigate your conduct, and now you're paying him back by saying, yes, slap up Gaspard, let him go, run him out? Are you now payback time? Tell us. Because you could have said it before, you know. Mr. Chief Justice, this thing festering for 7 years about the staffing, and it's only when Rowley and Amo come out, jump in the battle, jump down on the ground, slapping up Gaspard. Archie say, you see, when a man down on the ground, what does say, Damian? When you see a man down on the ground, you kick him down. That's what you've done. That is what you've done. Now, I had a lot more to say about Chief Justice Archie. JJ, I'll leave out those pieces tonight. But I have them. Not tonight. I have them here. Look what I did with it. Came with it. I folded it up and I said, the next time, if you do not tell us why, Mr. CJ, you came out this time to attack the DPP, then we'll come for you. I have another time to speak. God willing, there will be another time to speak. Definitely. See, it's all here. Archie's discreditable conduct. Yeah, 1 week. 1 week to go. We have 1 week. It's all here. And well documented with references. This is not make-up stuff, you know. Everything done here has a reference. You know, as a good lawyer, Brian and Saddam and the other lawyers in the crowd, Amit, you know that. Rishi, you know that. You have to put your references to support your statement. So we'll talk about that conduct, a questionable, discreditable conduct, and why were those allegations made then and up to now never investigated. As I said, one man who spoke about a high judicial officer was killed. One man who also raised questions about his high judicial officer, poor fellow, he up in the cold as a refugee in England. So more to come on that. Let's move on. So does Rowley have Archie on a short leash? And that's why I said to you before, if the Chief Justice had these concerns, why you come out with them now? And this reminds me of so many things, but I'll skip, as I say. We'll save him for another time. But I want you to remember how the Mr. Pandey's case went before the Privy Council recently. when the Privy Council ruled that Chief Magistrate Sherburne McNichols was hopelessly compromised. The PNM police were quick to charge CJ Sat Sharma, and McNichols was the prosecution's star witness. When the case collapsed because McNichols refused to testify, not a dog barked, a word before that, but let's just say not a dog barked. Not one barked, not a word. McNichols was never charged with misconduct in public office after he brought down a sitting Chief Justice, slandered the man's name. Remember what I said? Smeared his name, and went time to come in the courthouse and give evidence of what you said, all the things you said about that Chief Justice. He got cold feet. Remember, Sat Sharma was suspended after the PNM triggered the Lord Mustill Tribunal to inquire into allegations made by McNichols about Sat Sharma. That McNichols was the same man who was trying Pandey, and while he was buying land, remember this man? He was buying and selling land with money he didn't have that people give him from the political directorate at the time he was judging the case against Master Pandey. He was hopelessly compromised, and today we say, is the Chief Justice hopelessly compromised as well? Compare this way, how they hounded out Sat Sharma with the Mustill inquiry, and none was called to inquire into the conduct of the present Chief Justice. As I say, we'll come back another day. So why would Rowley want to lick down Gaspard? I said some of it before. Could be because Gaspard exercised his discretion under the law according to our Constitution in these high-profile matters. Or could there be more in the mortar, as we say, that Rowley is fearful of Gaspard? I want to posit tonight and share with you. I believe that the government, the Rowley government, is very fearful of the Vincent Nelson scandal. The Vincent Nelson scandal. And public criticism of the DPP comes on the heels of ending that case, Ramloga and Ramdeen cases, okay, and the matter against the Pandays. These were always political persecutions, but when this Nelson Gate has come out, we see that Rowley could be fearful of Gaspard because of what Nelson is saying. The Rowley government went behind the back of DPP Gaspard and engaged in witness tampering. I call on the Commissioner of Police to investigate witness tampering on the part of Faris Alwari and the government. If what Nelson is telling us transpired, you can get no better a case for witness tampering than what they did to induce Nelson to give evidence to prosecute and persecute Ramlogan and Ramdeen. Rowley is so fearful, they offered the inducements to Nelson. DPP didn't know nothing about that. DPP said he didn't know nothing. They went behind the back of the DPP to offer this man inducements, and I'll tell you, there was a newspaper over the weekend, but I'll share it with you tonight, what they promised Mr. Nelson to buy his testimony against Ramdeen and Ramloga. All about money. The TTPS does not see any of this. They do not think it warrants an investigation. And you have to say, you have to wonder, once it's a UNC, they're out for you. But when it's one of their own, there's a blind eye that is turned and must stop happening. Crime is crime, white color, blue color, any color, crime is crime is crime. And those who do the crime must do the time. You have to do the time when you do the crime. The now infamous Nelson matter, again in the forefront. We have learned that convicted counsel Vincent Nelson wrote to the DPP asking the DPP to take steps to have the conviction against him, Nelson, set aside. And why? He said it's because they acted outside of the law and offered him all these bribes, what you call inducements, to get him to do it. There were 11 promises, he says. They made 11 promises to him. Of course, they didn't keep one. And Faris lost his work, I think. Faris was moved out of the AG's office because of this indemnity thing he signed. Big lawyer like that, big AG like that. And what? I feel he get it free, Gil. We always say, when you're dunce, you're dunce. He walked straight into that. Signed this agreement. Big lawyer. And what is so interesting and ironic, you know, when Nelson sued them in the court about all the promises and things they made in indemnity, I am told the same lawyers who prepared that indemnity document is the same lawyers now defending the DPP and saying that agreement was a bad agreement. Only in Trinidad. Only in Trinidad. The same lawyers who write up the indemnity and then there's come and sue and want them to, yes, this is a good indemnity agreement. All the things you promised, please give it to me. The same lawyers who wrote the agreement, they are now saying, no, 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 bad, contrary to law. What were the 11 promises they made to Mr. Nelson? To buy, to induce, to witness tamper, to give evidence against Ramdeen and Ramlogan. Promise 1, that on October 5, 2017, former AG Faris Alwari informed Nelson's former attorney Kewal Singh, remember him? He was on the police service. Oh yes, and he bought the Porsche. A Porsche had never got registered for years. That's the guy. So Nelson's lawyer, then, Roger Kewal Singh, they said that if Nelson, this is the promise, Nelson, if you gave a notarized statement against Anand Ramlogal and Gerard Ramlin, then he, Faris, would make sure that Nelson was paid for the work he did for the government. So they were withholding payments to Nelson. He said, boy, if you sign this thing and say Anand and Ramdeen, them is two thief, corrupt and whatever, bad things about them, we will pay you the money that the government owes you. Your own money, you know. Promise 1. This period, the payment was during 2010 to 13 and February, December 2018. He got payments and so on. And he sued. When we lost the government, he sued for payments for work he had done. And he had won a certain part of it, so I think that it went up to, he had to go to appeal. Had won. And then Faris got to somebody and tell him, look, don't worry, we will pay you the money. All you have to do is come on, bad talk, Ramlogan and Ramdeen, and we will pay you. And so said, they did pay him about 10 million after that. Promise 2. The second alleged promise was that his notarized statement would only be shown to the DPP and the Anti-Corruption Bureau, but not any criminal, investigatory or prosecuting body outside TT. So we will not show anybody up in the United Kingdom and so on. But somebody leak it to the United Kingdom and the fella get in trouble up there. We stop him now, we can't practice law. What is it? Thief from thief does make God laugh. Laugh, real laugh. So they had promised him, we're not going to give anybody, just the DPP and anti-corruption. And Nelson gave that statement on October 26, 2017. He provided all kinds of documents for the indemnity that Faris, excuse me, promised to pay. Promise 3. So first 1, we're going to pay you your money, boy. Hold straight, just sign against Anand and Ramdeen. 2, we wouldn't tell the people up in the United Kingdom where you are practicing, not telling nobody. 3, it was alleged that Faris undertook, and I'm quoting, as part of the indemnity agreement, to recommend to the DPP that no criminal proceedings will commence against Nelson. See that? Faris promising he will tell the DPP no criminal proceedings. Well, of course, that promise was broken too, because they charged Nelson in the court, and up to now, Nelson is owing the court fines for that charge, $2.2 million. Promise 3. Promise 4. The DPP was told that the former AG recommended to him many times he should not prosecute Nelson. Okay? And because of the promises Faris made, he would not be charged, he would not be fined. Okay. Promise 5 to 9. These promises related to the indemnity agreement, Nelson's statement. It said that the TT government would not give the UK's crime agency the document and so on. They promised further they will get a presidential pardon for Nelson. Well, hello, that might very well happen now because you have a puppet president sitting down in president's house. They promised to get a presidential pardon. But this Nelson must really feel Farris is gone. That Farris would have make sure he's not prosecuted. Farris will get him all the millions unpaid. That Farris will get him a what? Presidential pardon. These were promises that any man would want. And remember the time, with due respect to him, King's Counsel Mr. Nelson was suffering from cancer. And he badly needed money to get treatment for his disease. He has had, I'm happy for him, God bless him. After all of this happened, he got better. What do you call it? A remission, I think it's called. Look, remission. So he got better, and then he said, listen, the man now looking for his money, looking for his indemnities, he's looking for his property. At that time, he was weak, and he wanted the money the government owed him, so he went along. So these promises here, get a presidential pardon. He also said, after he was sentenced, that he would receive full monetary compensation. In other words, whatever they charge him, he's going to get it back. They will pay him that money too. Promise 10 and 11, they promised that to Nelson, his lawyer, agreeing to pay him, which came after he threatened not to come to TT. Remember, he said, I'm not coming, unless all you pay me this money, not coming to give evidence. All of this would have remained secret if it were not for DPP Roger Gaspard. Again, I'm saying another reason they want to lick down DPP Gaspard. This is why they want to get rid of him. Everything else about building and staffing and all these other stories, red herrings. This has nothing to do with building and staffing only. They want him out because they're afraid of being charged for what? Witness tampering, corruption, misbehavior in public office by Farris and the Rowley government. That is what is a serious threat here to them, based on their behavior of these million promises they have made to Mr. Nelson, and Nelson coming, as they say, for his pound of flesh. He has written to the DPP and he's sued in the High Court. When the DPP discontinued these cases because he said prosecution witnesses and so on, unreliable, I made the point, nobody attacked them for the Franklin Khan discontinuation. So in that case, Ram Logan and Ramdeen, when the DPP says Vincent Nelson is not a reliable and credible witness because of all these inducements, some people call it bribe, bribe, buyout, payout, whatever, witness tampering and so on, everybody vexed about it. So look, if you are UNC, you do not enjoy the presumption of innocence because the PNM law is different strokes for different strokes, my friends. So while we are equal in the eyes of the law, the PNM people are above the law and the manner in which they operate. So what is the plan if Gaspard is removed? People are suggesting it might be the deputy DPP who will become DPP and so on. We don't even know that. What we do know, it will be a puppet DPP that they want to put in place. And so I call on the Commissioner of Police to investigate these serious allegations of witness tampering, misconduct in public office. Boy, if it was a UNC man, all know they're searching the man's house, you know. All know they're under your bed, in your laptop, in your cell phone, they want everything. Investigate these allegations of that indemnity agreement. A copy signed, you could get it. I had placed it in the public domain years ago. People didn't take it on then. But with each passing day, this is a serious indictment against Faris Alwari and the Rowley PNM, believe me. So, Madam Christopher, God will help you when you help yourself. So please investigate these serious allegations now. They want a dictatorship state, you're not going to get it. I call on Madam Christopher as well to investigate that $100 million Balji house. Where is that money coming from? I mentioned it before. Please investigate. I close finally by thanking you all for coming out here tonight in your numbers. We will be, I didn't intend to speak so long, but God is good all the time. Madam Archbishop Burke, thank you for your blessings here tonight. And for the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your week. And we shall meet again. God bless you and thank you very much.
So who feel the black? Who feel the